Well, good evening. Yes, I am remiss on my Tuesday put together YouTube, and I'm doing it Wednesday evening because I got some things going on in life, and that happens to a lot of people, doesn't it? It sure does. Okay, so two things. I'm going to share my knitting and the value of blocking your project, whatever you're working on. And I have some thoughts on seeing the good, managing emotions. I may have talked about this before, but life has a way of bringing events, similar events into our life. It's almost like you didn't get it the first time, so we're going to get you this time again, see if you remember anything. And so nature has this way of teaching us lessons. So anyway, okay. Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you. I'm Sue Johnston. I'm a retired counselor, wife and mom, and friend to a lot of people. Very lucky lady, I would say. Okay, into the video. Here we go. I have been working on the Elsa sleeveless top. You can purchase the pattern online for about $6. I picked mine up at the wool shop. You knit the center panel, then the side pieces, front and back, and then join it all together. As I'm knitting, I'm also making notes. I take a photo of the pattern, and that way I have it on my iPad, and then I can use my iPencil to make notes, to take note of any changes that I'm making, because one size does not always fit the way you would like it to. So you do need to make adjustments, I find. What I have found useful is to block the individual pieces as I go along. That way I have a really good idea of the stretch factor and also whether it's going to fit. The setup I have for blocking my garments, whatever wool item I'm working on, is simply a clothes rack that I purchased from IKEA and a screen from one of the windows in the house, and I put a towel on there, and then I wet my wool item, and then I block it out. I spread it out on the rack, and it dries overnight usually, maybe sooner, but usually I set it up and then the next day I check it. I did the same thing with this sweater. I blocked it in the same way. I think blocking is really important because it gives you an idea of the size of your work, whether it's going to fit or not. And I like the idea of blocking things as I go along, at least, especially if I'm knitting items in pieces and then have to put it all together. I guess it's a lot different if you're knitting from the neck down and using circular needles. However, I do recall a lady who was making a sweater for her husband, and he didn't like the closeness of the neck. When he tried it on, he just had the neck and the yoke. And she said, well, it'll probably stretch out when it's blocked, so it'll be fine. If I was her, I would have taken it at that point and blocked it so that she could see that, yep, it's going to fit, and he could see that as well. If you've ever done this, blocked your work, blocked the pieces as you've gone along, just to find out the stretch factor and to make sure that it's going to fit, please let me know. Or if you've done it and you find that there's some problems with that, let me know that too, because I'd like to know. We all have things that we can learn from each other. Now I'm going to share the life principle. It could be titled Focus on the Good or See the Good. I may have shared something similar to this idea previously, but life has a way of visiting us with similar experiences, ones that teach us lessons or give us opportunity to grow once again. And it's also an opportunity to change some of our responses to find new ways of managing life. Now, a common occurrence in life, as unfortunate as it is when someone says or does something against you that hurts your feelings and disrupts you. There's nothing you can do in the immediate. Well, not usually. There's nothing you can do immediately to change or rectify the situation, and possibly there's never going to be an opportunity to change anything. So, what do you do with your feelings? Initially, I think it's important to distract yourself with healthy endeavors, things that you like to do. For example, if you like to knit, that can be part of your therapy. Indulge in that as much as you have time to, and as much as you're able to do that. Another thing is, even while you're knitting, you might find that, this is not really distracting me at all. I'm thinking about everything that happened. All the events keep going over my head again. And then you find that you're in this problematic loop. It's still hurting. So what do you do then? Well, you focus on the things that generate some sort of good feelings. First of all, feelings in the beginning of a hurt, the disruption or upset, are strong. They will gradually lose in their strength. They will gradually weaken. They will lessen their effect on you, their grip. And we know that happens basically with the passing of time. You may say to yourself, well, in a few days, I'm going to be fine. Meanwhile, what do you do with your feelings? You could keep going over all the events and things that occurred and things that were said, and doing that, it just keeps the wound fresh and alive. So that's not necessarily a good thing. What you need to do is redirect your attention, and that often has to be a deliberate action. You just do it. So what do I have to focus on? Well, right now, I have my knitting, projects that I want to get done, and I'm enjoying them. So that's a good aspect that generates good feelings. I have conversations with my husband, and hopefully it's about other things, not about just what happened. And by the way, the upset was not with him. Another thing is redirecting focus. So right now I can focus on spring. I can focus on what I'm going to put in my garden, what plants I might get, what seeds I need to start. How about preparing the plant beds? How about preparing the window boxes and making planters that are going to go outside once I can put them out there? I can plan and focus on all the things I need to do in order to create a good, healthy plant bed for my seeds or plants that are going to go outdoors, and then I get to enjoy later on. So it's a forward action. So spring and summer is one focus. I can also focus on upcoming Disney trip. Yes, I have another Disney trip in the plans. End of August, 1st of September. I mean, I love the place. I can think about how it's going to be, what's it going to be like. I'm detail oriented, so I like planning, all the aspects with planning. And I like going over the details. It's like living in the vacation now, before I actually get there. I can focus on my budgeting. That's important. What am I going to do with my pay? How much money am I going to put towards Disney? How much money am I going to put towards my wool? And what about other crafts? I can focus on woodworking. I have a lot of wood in my pile. And what am I going to make? What am I going to do? Summertime and spring is a perfect time for sanding outdoors. It just the wind blows away the sawdust and I don't need to worry about cleanup. What else can I focus on? Well, I can focus on camping and picnics and all that entails. We want to buy a park pass this year and visit all the parks that we can in our area. Enjoy the paths, walking paths, investigate, experience, all that stuff with nature. So I'm focusing on nature. What else can I focus on? Spring cleaning. I need to focus on that. Again, it's about going over the details of each of those goals, endeavors, and dreams. And that helps fuel you and it helps keep your mind occupied. That's the kind of thing you want to be ruminating over and redirecting your energies toward, because those are the things you hopefully have more control over, more say, and more personal decisions. It's not dependent on other people who potentially could hurt you or upset you. When you focus on these positive things, the good stuff, it can help stir up joy. It also relieves your thinking, at least for a few days, maybe just temporarily, so that you can free up energies. And while those energies are being freed up, sometimes what happens in your subconscious is your brain starts putting together solutions, things that you might be able to do to fix, ameliorate, make the situation or the upset better, to smooth it over, to fix it, just to make it better, if that's even possible. In the meantime, focus on the good. My personal upsetting situation, I did begin to feel better within a day. A friend once said that I'm a fast processor, and I do have a number of skills and tools I rely on, things I've used to help my emotions along. I didn't retaliate or give the same kind of hurting words or treatment the other person offered me. I asked myself, who are you, Susan? How do you want to conduct your life? And the answer is, I'm compassionate and forgiving. I also want to respond to the hurting person with some wisdom. Fewer words said, the better. And be true to myself in my response. Life tests us. We may think, I've done all these things before, but life is a way of revisiting us with similar problems and circumstances. It's nature's way of saying, let's reinforce those lessons. Let's see if you really are true to self, if you really believe what you say, if you can do what you hope to do in terms of a response. There was a young lady at my workplace who said, I treat others the way I want to be treated. Now that's a noble statement and a great personal goal. So what do you do when others mistreat you, when they don't treat you as you've treated them? You lean on your own personal goals and take strength in those. You know that the passing of time will settle harsh emotions, and with that time, you may find a workable solution or just some wisdom to lean on. Thanks for listening. I wish you well in all you do, and remember, you do have personal strengths to lean on. Know what those are, and trust that they are there when you need them most.